Somerville, my name is Ed Halloran. Welcome to the Somerville Labor Show. If you can believe it, this is our 5th year in a row. Right through COVID, we did these shows. We did some of them obviously on Zoom. We love being here. We love being here in Union Square. I want to thank everybody at the Somerville Media Center. We also can watch our show on YouTube, if you like, local cable, and we love it. I want to thank Greg Hill. He's here. He's in studio. Greg does a lot of work for us. We also have a technical director, Yvette Wilks, and she has a show called What's the Word? And so I'm enjoying my time here. I want to thank everybody for being here for this show. So we decided to cover something called communications, which is incredibly important in the city of Somerville, as everybody knows. Considering what all of us have been through over the past 3 years, it's with the pandemic, there's no better time to speak with a guest that has been on the front lines, literally. We'll go in the office probably every single day and does not want to be home, which I think that's very cool. But thank you for doing that. So let me give you a little history on 311. I'm going to tell you why we chose 311. The 311 system started in Baltimore in 1996 as an informational system, but quickly evolved into a way to address non-emergency concerns throughout the city. Today, cities across the U.S. and Canada have put together similar 311 systems in place. Approximately 20 years ago, 311 began in the city of Somerville, one called the City Hall. And so that brings us to our guest for this show, a longtime employee from 311 Constituent Services Department, Eileen Costa, who has been working very hard for the residents, along with her co-workers, to make Somerville as easy as possible to navigate for residents. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I asked you to come on the show, and you said, yeah, when? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll be there.
That's correct.
And I said, have you ever done this before? Oh, sure, I've done a couple. I think it's great, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here for the show. So you've lived in Somerville your entire life?
Correct.
Okay, so this is good. We've got, right? Yeah, all right. People living in Somerville their entire life. There's not a lot of them left, but we love that. I mean, this is, for me, the new Somerville and the old Somerville is basically, personally, for me, I like them both. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's not a cop-out, right, to be honest with you. So how long have you worked for the city?
22 years. 22
years, okay. So rolling back to when 311 was first introduced to the residents, tell me how the residents reacted to 311.
So at the very beginning, it was a very small group. There were only 4 of us, and it was a very small service that we offered. So when you called 311, basically at the very beginning, we only handled things like very simple trash questions. My trash was picked up, was missed, recycling things. And we started a little bit with traffic and parking on how to help people find out if they had a parking ticket or how to pay a parking ticket or what kind of permits they could get. It was a very, very small series of incidences that we could help with. And then over time, it grew and grew and grew, and more departments got involved, and we got more involved, and then we got more staff, and we got more issues. So now it's evolved to a way bigger, it is a full-time, 24-hour-a-day operation. So from 3 people, there are now 9 full-time and 2 part-time people, and we have an answering service that answers all the time that we're not there live.
So basically, for all you at home that are watching, it's a beast.
Yes,
it has turned into a beast, mm-hmm. But you're a victim of your own success. Thinking about it, because I work with the Department of Public Works, mm-hmm. for us at the DPW, pretty difficult for us to handle those because they were coming in and we were trying to understand them and get used to it and get acclimated to it. But it's like anything else, and we do fill them as quickly as we can. Right. So look, it's great for the residents too.
It's a wonderful service for the residents because now we're to the point where even most of the DPW people, I believe, have an iPad that they can have instant access to.
We're learning.
Yeah, and it's a hard process, and especially hard for those of us that are older that weren't brought up on technology. Mm-hmm. I certainly wasn't. I've learned more things in the last 22 years, more programs, mm-hmm. and more technology than I ever thought I'd known in my lifetime.
Oh, it's great.
And it changes all the time. As soon as you learn one system, they say, oh, we're going to get a different system, and now we're going to learn that one.
So everybody, I have to think that desk, that front desk that you sit at in City Hall, everybody has seen you at one time or another. Everybody knows who you are, right?
I would think so. I was there today all day, and I had a plethora of people for all different reasons. And yes, lots of them come in and say, hi, Eileen. I actually today had someone sing, come on, Eileen, to me.
You know, I was thinking about that. That's the Dixie, but they're an Irish group.
Yeah.
Dixie something. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, come on, Eileen. I love that song. So tell me, what is the makeup of the workforce?
So there's basically, there are senior, which I am one, there are senior clerks, call takers, there are 4 of us, and we are the only ones that are allowed to work at the front desk, because to work at the welcome desk at City Hall, you have to basically know every building in the city, where every every department is located, what the services are that we can provide. Today we had orientation for the summer jobs program, so all the kids that are going to work in all those programs, they all came in today. I had to tell them where to go. You know, we have treasury going on, we have excise taxes going on, we have lots of marriages going on right now. This is the month to get married.
It's June.
It's June.
And let's not forget budget season.
Oh, and it's budget season. We don't ever forget the budget.
Get yourself your high blood pressure medication, right? Because you're going to need it. Let me tell you right now, budget is never easy.
Yeah, politicians are in pulling papers and turning in papers, and budget's going on, and there's a lot of angst going on because of budget that always makes people
so really,
crazy.
working the welcome desk, you really have to know how to navigate your way through it and get people.
Oh, yes.
You know, and let me. What are some of the most, well, I don't want to ask common questions, but give me a common question. When they come in, what are they looking
So
for?
people that are coming into the front desk at City Hall, a lot of them are in the wrong place. I spent most of the day today telling people, no, if you're here to get a parking permit, traffic and parking is not in City Hall. It's at 133 Holland Street.
Okay.
So I write it down for them, give directions on how to get there. Lots of people come in to pull permits. ISD is not at City Hall. It's at 1 Franny Road, and I give them directions.
Exactly.
Then you have a majority of people that are coming in are elderly or non-English speaking people that want to pay their excise tax, want to pay their water bill, their treasury bill. They're not really sure how to do that. They come in, they go to the treasury window, and sometimes they have cash or a check and they pay it there. And
So let me stop you there, because I know that don't we have people on with 301 that can translate?
yes, we do.
All right.
Yes.
That's
we
a
have-
major, that's great.
Yes, we have Portuguese speakers, Spanish speakers, and we
Haitian?
also, yes, there's a Haitian speaker.
French Creole.
And we also have a language line that I can call up, and there's, I believe, 90 languages that you can call and get a translator on the phone, which we do
wow.
all the time.
Oh, that's great.
So, yes, and then we also use technology on my own phone. Someone comes in and they speak Spanish. I use Google Translate on my own phone, and I speak to
Oh,
them.
you're pretty innovative, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, not
So,
fooling
yeah,
around anyway.
I play
like that.
charades. We do all kinds of stuff.
I got to ask you a question. Did my mother ever give you a hard time? Don't answer that.
I had someone else's mother today that gave me a hard time, but I won't say that who that was either. But
Well-
yeah, so we help people pay their, if they have a credit card or a debit card, they come over to us at the desk and we process the payment for them.
Great.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What is one of the oddest questions, or some of the stranger questions you've gotten or requested that people are looking for, if you think about it?
Well, this is the thing. Because it's one call to City Hall and you are assured that a real live human being is going to answer your call, people will call and say, what's playing at the Davis Square movie theater? Can you tell me what's on the menu at the Highland Cafe? I don't have a phone that I can call 411. So can you give me the number for Mass General? I say, yeah, that's 726-2000. So they call for everything just because they know that we're going to answer them. So maybe that's not in our job description, but if they're calling me, whatever they're calling for, I'm going to help them.
So the majority of the calls, a mix of people, or you get more elderly?
We have a lot of elderly that call only because everything now is online.
I know.
They don't want to do anything online. They want somebody to help them. and they should have somebody to help them. People that are 80 years old don't know, they don't want to get their parking permit by downloading a picture on their phone and then trying to resize it and then try to add it on and
You know
then
what's funny?
time out and you can't do it.
I'm thinking about this. I'm saying to myself, I'm talking about elderly people like I'm not elderly.
I am too.
And that's kind of funny
I get free permits.
because I guess I am, right? I mean, I have to be. But it's really, I had a woman who was looking at a parking meter in Davis Square. I happened to be working there. And she's looking at it, she's going, I just can't figure this, I can't understand this thing at all. So I knew a little bit about it, and I knew how long she could park for and all of that. And I said, there's a thing called Park Mobile you can use. And I said, well, it's probably not the right thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
She's looking, I'm beyond that. I'm done. I'm not doing it. And I get it. I understand. So it's an invaluable service that you guys provide. I really, let me ask you a question. So you have a mix of men and women?
Yes.
All? Okay,
Yes,
so we have everybody across the board there. So tell me, what's the difference now? Like, what are some of the things you're doing now that you weren't doing before that is really going into the weeds?
So this is the thing, the pandemic changed 311 forever overnight.
Yes.
It changed the way we do business, it changed the rules. So one of the first things that became evident right away during the pandemic was elderly people needing parking permits. Traffic and parking was closed, completely closed. If you didn't know how to do it online, to fill out an app for you to call 311 and me to print out the application, then mail it to you, then you have to physically, check it off and then mail in a check and then it gets processed and then you get your permits back. That might be 2 months.
Yeah.
Might be 2 months. By then you've gotten 15 parking tickets and now you want to appeal them all because you tried to.
Okay, Eileen, I have a question for you about the elderly and how they deal with. Do they deal with technology?
No.
Okay, they're not. Let me get rid of my water. Okay, I'm a little thirsty. All right, let's talk about the technology end of this whole thing because I know that things have changed over the years. And knowing the elderly, and I'm an elderly person now.
Me too.
I didn't want to say that. Okay, but I guess we both are. Some of us take to technology, some of us don't take to technology. You mentioned something to me. We've had conversations in the past about birth certificates. Tell me a little bit about the birth certificate and what's changed over the years.
So what's happened since the new Real ID started in 2018, it never really got off the ground, but now we're actually, I believe, in 2024, you're going to have a Real ID to fly domestically. So with that being said, all people that want to get a Real ID have to have a new birth certificate.
Did you say Mexico?
Yeah, anywhere.
Okay, I love that.
All people that want to get a birth certificate, want to get a new Real ID, have to have a new birth certificate that has a number on it.
Okay.
So I always tell them when they call, oh, you need the long form. It's got a red number and a seal like you won the Olympics or something. But anyways, you can get that by coming to City Hall. But if you're calling me from California, you've moved since you've retired, and you need to get a birth certificate, I say, well, you can get it online. And they say, oh, but I'm old and I don't do computers. Then I say, well, I can do it for you. If you're willing to give me your debit or credit card information, I'll ask you the few questions that we need to ask. What's your name when you were born? What's your birthday? What's mom and dad's name? I fill it all in for you. You give me the credit card information, and the same day they mail it out to you. The people on the other end of the conversation are thrilled because they've had a real person help them. In less than 5 minutes, they've accomplished something that they probably thought was going to take days.
And something that they probably put off.
Yes, because they're afraid that they know they don't want to try to do it, or some people just don't even have any technology.
And they give up. And
they choose not to. But you are being forced in this day and age to do, they want you to do everything online. They're trying to make this a people-less planet. They don't want customer service that are real people. They want you to do everything online.
It's been unbelievably.
And many people, especially the older people, don't want to do it online or don't know how to and are too frustrated. Once you got by the first 4 times and it says, no, you didn't do this right, or you missed a comma in the name, or you have to do the whole process over.
So really, one call to City Hall, you make the call, right? But then if you're like, someone like my mom or whoever, they want to walk in, they want to say hello.
Right.
It's kind of like shopping online.
Right.
Right? You want to, and some people don't want to shop online, right? Especially if they're buying clothes. They want to feel it, they want to touch it,
Right.
they want to do whatever. So they come in and they see you or someone, one of your coworkers at the welcome desk.
You know what, a lot of people, we just did a little survey at City Hall to try to find out why so many people are coming in person for things that you can do online. And I said immediately, you don't need to do a survey. I'm going to tell you what the answer is going to be. And I was exactly right. The answer is people like to come in person. They want to talk to you. It's their social life. It's something to do. They want to get a receipt in their hand. They want to see the proof is in the pudding. They don't want to do it online. They're not sure that it worked online.
So they don't
know how to do it online.
they don't want to do this.
Yeah, they don't want to
everything.
do that.
They don't want to,
do that.
right.
You know, some elderly people don't have a new technology. They don't want it. And even if they did have it, they don't want to do it. They want to come. Some elderly people still come with $400 in a lunch bag, and they go to the treasury window, and they want to talk to me at the desk, and they want to talk to Debbie at the window, and they want to pay, and they want to get a receipt and go back home.
I think one of the people who probably has $400 or $500 in a lunch bag is in the studio right now, but I won't mention. I won't mention any names of who that might be.
Right,
You know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
you might be right.
So tell me else, how has it evolved over the years? Because I know that there's so many areas that 301 is involved with, right?
Right.
We talked, I think, traffic and parking.
Right.
It's just
we
out of control.
take all telephone calls for traffic and parking. If you call the main number at City Hall
Yep.
and you say, I want traffic and parking, it automatically comes to 311. You don't know that it's come to 311? We just answer and they say, oh, I want traffic and parking. I say, you're speaking to it, how can I help you? And they say, oh, I thought you were 311. And I say, I am, but I'm also traffic and parking. They
That's
do
right.
not take phone calls. If you dial the extension manually, it comes to 311.
You know, I'm probably losing my mind right now because here's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the Wizard of Oz, right? And I'm thinking about remember the guy who was everybody?
Yes.
Who was that guy? He was the gatekeeper. You know, he was the snake and oil. He was the guy who was the doctor or whatever.
That's what we are.
When Dorothy got
That's
lost.
what we are.
So there was like, this guy was everybody, right? He was the wizard,
Right,
right?
right.
So 301 is actually the wizard here.
We are the wizard.
We are.
We make things happen.
You're the Wizard of Somerville. You make it shine.
things happen.
You make it shine. So the job duties have changed over the years. The technology,
Drastically, yes.
drastically, right? So more and more work is being.
Yes.
I don't want to say it's being piled on, but it's just coming quicker than you
Right.
can keep up
So
with.
there
at
are
times.
more things that we do, you know, for instance, that now you have to recycle your mattresses. Now we have to,
Oh, yeah.
in the old days you put hazardous waste in the trash. People didn't know any better, they just put it in the trash. Now there's so many rules. You can't put socks in the trash anymore. That has to go to a clothing recycle.
That's right, that's right.
You know, we have to tell people about that service. So the technology that has evolved has made the way that we live very different. You know, when I was growing up, there was no recycling. I didn't know what recycling was. Now I wash every single thing and I recycle every single thing and I have this much trash and my recycle bin is full. That's completely different than 50 years ago.
Right.
So because of the evolution of the world and,
Yes.
you know, we're trying to get rid of carbon emissions
We're
and
gonna be
all
carbon
that.
neutral, that's right.
Carbon neutral
You're
and footprints
you're
and
speaking
all.
the language
Yeah.
of the
So
Somerville Media
when
Center
I-
over here with me and
Yeah.
Greg and.
Right, when
you
I
know.
started this job 22 years ago, I didn't know what a carbon footprint was, nor did I probably really care. Now I know what it is, and now I do my best to
Thank you.
keep my
We appreciate all of that.
footprints only in mud.
Look at solar panels, electric vehicles. I mean, whatever you can do, it's very, very important. I mean, we have one of our friends on Somerville Stands Together, and she has a depaving program, right, where they actually go to your house, I think, and they make a little piece of greenery for you,
Right.
and they depave. I think that's the coolest thing, right?
Right.
I love all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
everything is different now because of the whole world that we live in now. It's completely changed. Somerville, when I grew up, was 9 people in my house was 1 car, and next door was Aunt Rosie with 7 people in 1 car.
Okay.
Now that house is 4 condos with 25 people and 42 cars. Hopefully now we're trying to get to that new condo that you're going to buy on Somerville Ave, you're not allowed to have a car. It's right in the lease. You can't have a car.
Amazing.
You can't. That is
Yeah.
right in the lease.
Pretty amazing.
It's a completely different world. So we've done
so-
a full 360 circle.
You're breaking it to me kind of hard here, so I guess what you're saying to me is like, go with it, Ed.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we don't have a choice. We
don't have a
choice. We have to go with the flow.
Well, you have to love, like I said before, you love the old Somerville, you love the new Somerville, you put them
Right.
both together and you try and see if we can coexist
Right.
with a lot of things. One thing I do want to mention about hazardous waste is everybody needs to understand, do not give us any medical waste.
Right.
We do not want your medical waste, okay? I believe, where would you take medical waste?
So when they have people have things like use syringes and stuff,
Yes.
they can take it, the police department has a medication drop off. They
kiosks,
have
yep.
kiosks over there. They're open 24 hours a day. You just walk in the main lobby.
you
It's
go.
right there. Looks like a mailbox.
Yep.
You just drop it in there, no problem.
No questions asked, that's it. Beautiful.
Right.
I like that. So tell me how many calls we receive a day.
So it's anywhere between 300 and 600 calls a day. Monday we received 600 calls. I think today before I left we received 400 calls. And depending on the day and the circumstance, any circumstance could precipitate 100 calls in an hour. So for instance, if there is a huge power outage in say Union Square, all the businesses lose power, that's 100 calls in 15 minutes to
Right,
311
right.
because people don't realize that when there's a power outage, you should not call 311. You should call Eversource because they need to know your address and your account number.
But think about this, Eileen, right? They've become so accustomed to using you
Right.
and getting used to you.
And that's what they do.
It's a high honor.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
It really is. I
It
think
is.
it's amazing.
Yeah, and so we do record every single person. We record every single call. It's physically recorded, and we put in either it's called a quick ticket or a work order. A quick ticket is something that we gave out information. We put it in, we capture it, and then we
So
close
Greg's
it.
going to need to disguise his voice the next time he calls 311.
Right, so exactly.
Okay.
So we always have, they will pull the data and say, okay, during this power outage, 450 people called 311 to report a power outage.
So you had a funny story you told me about somebody who actually called you. What was that? Was that about? Was it a parking issue or it was something that you had given me, that you had told me about that was kind of funny off the air? But I'm trying to recollect which one it was. But I can only imagine how many calls you
We get,
and some of the funniest ones that will come in.
oh, yeah, some of the people that call, I mean, you can't even repeat what they say to you on the phone. You can't even repeat it. Or people will call, this is another one. We have so many new people now in the city of Somerville. In old days, Somerville, if you shoveled out a parking space, it was yours and no one else would
Yeah,
ever
you owned
park
it.
in it. Now, new people come in, they have no idea. They're from Alabama or Iowa. You can park in a cow field or wherever.
Yeah.
You can't. So I spend 9 hours shoveling out a space, and then Farmer Joe from next door comes and he puts his car in there, and I am furious. And then people put space savers in there, and they call and report them. So we at 311 say it's illegal to save a space, so yes, we're going to put in a report, and the DPW is going to come and remove that
And
crib
did we
or
ever?
furniture or whatever that you
Yep.
put there, and then, yes, it's
I got some good beach chairs.
Oh, I'm
I also
sure.
got a table set.
Yep.
Someone actually put a refrigerator in one of the spots.
Oh, I'm sure. I've seen Blessed Mothers out there.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of kids. I've
We had
seen
an
chairs.
it was on. I think it was on Channel 5. I can't remember. But it was an overhead shot in a helicopter, and at the DPW we have the DPW,
Yep.
and then we have what's called Yard 2.
Yes.
I didn't put the R in there because I'm from Somerville, and that was not rehearsed.
Yeah, we don't have yards. We have
No,
yards.
Yard. So Yard 2, and Yard 2, you could see if you look down, there it was, unbelievable amount of like space savers. Just you name it, come in and pick what you want. What do you need? It was amazing.
I do have a funny story about that. The year that we wish never happened, the winter of 2015-16, when we had Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
A gentleman called me and he was distraught. He said, I live on such and such a street and my wife has to have medical appointments and they have to come 3 times a week to get her out, and I have this big sign that I made on a cardboard and I put it in the space that said, medical van coming, please do not park in this space. And somebody of course, took it and put it in yard 2. And that night, my husband and I were watching TV. It had been one of the worst days I ever worked in my life. And we saw the sign that says, "My wife has medical appointments." And I said, "Tony, that's the sign the man
There it
called
is.
about. It's right there." And they took it as a space saver.
Well, it's really amazing. So I kind of like collected just a few things here, but this is going back a few years. It was all about the trash. It's all about the TV and monitors. Something's going on in the school, in the buildings, potholes, right? Look at potholes in the city of Somerville. They're digging up every road, okay? The entire city's been disrupted because of the growth, the rapid growth that we're going through right now, both mentally, you know, the whole thing. It's just happening everywhere around us. We're filling as quickly as we can.
Yes.
And we're hiring other companies to come in and help us. So it's amazing. Mist recycling, public works, miscellaneous, a lot of public works, I know that. Sidewalk repair, which is basically a job that I do as well. Tree trimming, illegal parking, we talked about all of that. Rodents is huge.
Rodents is a huge, we have lots and lots of calls right now. So people call, we explain the program to them, then we have to email them the form and explain that everybody in the household over 18 years old has to sign the form. If they don't, we don't even return their
Tell
phone
me,
call.
what farm are we talking about?
So
Just like-
it's called the ease and liability, so that every person that's in the household, whether they're the tenant or the owner, if they're 18 years old or older, has to sign that they agree to have pesticide and to have rat boxes on the property. If they don't all sign, then we can't do it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I did not know that,
Okay, so
as Johnny
see?
Carson would say years ago. Wow, that's pretty.
Great Karnak
Yeah,
knows all.
exactly. Amazing. So the rodent issue in the city, now I know that they eat through barrels, right? We talked about that prior to this airing. And one of the things we talked about was that we just got in 504 totes.
We were so
So
happy
don't
that-
everybody get on the phone and call now.
No, because
okay?
we already have those reserved for the 504 people that already called.
Well, there's another truck coming in from Texas. Don't worry about it. So they are coming in pretty rapidly. But I also want to say that we receive a lot of these big bellies, we call
Right.
them, trash receptacles.
Right.
So I think the city, now I'm not trying to talk for the city, but we do work for the city, right?
Right.
So the trash receptacles, they're called big bellies.
Right.
It's a compactor. It's run by solar.
Yep.
You put your item in there, whatever it is, it crushes it and whatever, okay? And it's also rodent free. So it's really, really good. We just got in 2 shipments of those. So
Wonderful.
they're going to be spread out all around the city as well too. The recycling totes and all of that. And what I'm trying to tout here, what I'm trying to say is that it's so important that the city does so many things. I know you pay taxes. We understand that, okay? Pay taxes everywhere. But it's really for free. I mean, we talked about the mattresses. You're
Our
not charging for the
mattresses are free.
mattresses. Not charging for the
Street sweeping.
TVs. Okay, not charging TVs. If I know people have gotten replacements when rodents eat through them. I mean, it's really amazing the money that's being spent on a lot of this. You know, so it's really, really good for people to understand a lot
I
of what's
just want
happening.
to say this because you just mentioned the big bellies. I just had a request. A gentleman asked if we can put a big belly at the new Green Line stations because people are throwing their coffee cups all over Lowell Street before they board the train. Because there's no trash barrel there.
Well, you know what? There's always a dilemma. I want to tell you why. We have dog parks in the city of Somerville,
Yes.
right? And we love our dogs. I love my dog. I mean, my dog's not around no more. My dog's name is Fenway.
Oh.
90-pound Labrador Retriever, chocolate lab. But anyway, unfortunately, you know, what's happening here is that we have a trash truck. It picks up these things, right? We don't even know where to park the trash truck anymore.
Right.
Because now we're going to talk about mobility, right?
Right.
Because the trash truck parks, can't park here, can't park there, parks just for a few minutes just to go get these barrels. And they end up getting in trouble
Right.
with management because they say, look, you can't park there.
Right.
You know, well, where am I supposed to park my truck while I'm picking up the barrels,
Right.
right? So Lowell Street is an area, as you know,
Right.
not easy. Speed bumps,
Right.
got a lot of them, right?
Of
So we're trying to
course.
calm the traffic. I get it.
Yes.
We really do understand what's behind all of this and why they need to do these
Right.
things. We're worried about people getting killed. We're
Right.
worried about public safety and,
And
all
they
of
do
that.
work, and it's been proven that speed bumps do save lives.
Well, believe me, I just let me know where they are next time so I don't.
Well, I have to tell you, you know, as a lifelong resident, as a walker and a driver, It's very frustrating when you're driving and you have to stop every 30 feet to slow down. But they're not well painted yet, so that's an issue. I know where they are now, but the first time I went down Morrison Ave, I have
think
to
it
tell
happened,
you,
yes.
my RAV4 went boom.
It happened to all of us.
Yeah, and I was shocked.
So I was
because-
driving a front end loader and
yeah,
seen
I
that
was
happen.
not going fast at all,
Yeah.
and I was shocked at how hard my car hit the ground. But I do believe that they do work, and we need them, because people fly down my street.
I know.
People fly down my street
Yeah.
when I'm walking to work in the morning. They're going 40, 50 miles an hour down a side street.
So let's move to just a little bit of mobility, okay? I want to talk about bicycles, and you know the calls that you get. Do you get a lot of calls for bicycles?
So this is the thing. It's like, and I say,
Not just
there's-
bicycles, these
yeah,
electric vehicles, whatever these
yes,
little things.
yes.
I don't know what they are.
So
but
there's two different schools of thought. It's the tree people and the non-tree people. It's the bike people and the non-bike people. So the people that ride bicycles every day, they are expecting to be able to go down a bike lane without obstruction, which is their right, and that should happen.
Right.
However, as you just said, the trash truck has to pick up the trash. This person is doing this. So we get calls when they call and they say, there's someone in the bike lane, there's a truck in the bike lane, I had to drive out into the street, I almost got killed, or they did have an accident, or they went over the top of their handlebars. It does happen, and because there is no place for the trash truck to stop, there is no place for a police officer to stop. He's got to park in the bike lane to help whatever he's helping. You have to park in the bike
we
lane
need
to pick up the trash.
what we really need here. Now this is a government issue, right?
Right.
And this is where our supervisors need to get their heads together and figure out how they want to do this, because
Right.
we're in Union Square right now, right? Construction everywhere.
Right.
Buildings. You're funneling into Union
Right.
Square like this on both sides. So you're going to get a lot of calls like that.
Right.
We live it every single day.
Right.
My thought to everybody, and it's the same old thought I've been thinking about the whole time, is that we have to get together and we have to begin to have a discussion about this, and the best way to do it, and treat each other with respect while we're out there, okay?
Because, as I say, the bike people have every right to expect to be able to drive their bike down the lane with their child in the front of them, taking them to the Argenziano school without getting killed because they had to slam on their brakes because someone's parked in the middle of the bike
Speaking
lane.
of Argenziano, Dr. Argenziano passed
Oh,
away
I know,
just a
my
couple of
heart was
days ago.
broken.
So we want to mention that as well. A great man, no doubt about that. Let me talk a little bit about now we already talked about the mattresses, right? The Q-Send is just a little something that you guys send out, right, that you use for yourselves,
So
right?
Q-Send is the name of the program that takes work orders. So when you call me and you say, I want to schedule a mattress pickup, Eileen, I take your name, your address, the day of your week your trash is, what size mattress you have. I have to ask you if it's bed bug infested, because if it is, it goes out as just trash. You have to put an X on it so we know it's trash. And if not, and it's going to be picked up, I put in this whole thing, and it's called a service request or a work order. It's the same thing in the Q Alert system. At the end, I say, would you like your service request number, or would you like it texted or emailed to you so you have it for your records?
You know
And
why
that-
I'm asking this question? Because I want the residents who are watching, or anybody who's watching, to understand there is a process here.
Right.
And that this is so you don't feel like you've been left behind.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because you have a paper trail and you're following
Right.
everything.
Right.
So the reason why I'm asking something about this Q-Send, which is the QSCEND,
Right.
I think that's a very important part of
Right,
what
it
all of
is.
you are doing. Right?
So there is a paper trail and a recording for every single phone call that has ever come into 311. So I have one person, who I won't say the name, has been calling and writing to us every Monday for years about a certain business and their dumpster being overfull. He sends a picture every single Monday morning with his name and says, this is the current situation. There has to be 700 entries on that one Q Alert quick ticket, because that's a repeat. Every time this gentleman comes, we don't open up a new ticket. We go to the one that's already been open for him for a year, and we add the comment. Today is Monday,
Well, at
this
least
date.
they're
and
consistent.
This is the new picture.
We can say that.
Right.
They're
So
consistent.
that gentleman, if he ever chose to, we could print out the whole history of how many times he's called about that issue.
Tell me this, to get to just really quickly on the pandemic. How did it change you personally, and how did it change everybody over at 311? In a
The
nutshell.
pandemic changed my life and everyone's life at 311 forever. It's never going to go back to the same. It's never. So on March 13th, 2000, right?
2000.
We were told to take our laptops home for 2 weeks. Something was going on with the world. We weren't quite sure what it was, but take your laptops home for 2 weeks. We're going to work from home for 2 weeks. Me being the age that I am, I'm not a fan of working at home. I did not want to do it. I wanted to go to work, but I was forced to. And come Monday morning, I sat at my kitchen table, terrified that the whole world was going to die, with my headset on, and a person called and said, I'm 80 years old and I'm all alone and I need a nurse. And I had to call somebody and find out, I had to call the Council on Aging and find out if they could help this person.
Right,
and then
right.
somebody called and said, I need food. And we had to find food banks for people, and we had to find people that were shut-ins, how to get food delivered to them. And then the schools, all the schools had to close, and we had to figure out how to get laptops to
Yep,
how many thousand kids and deliver laptops to them. And then have a technology line so when they called in and didn't know how to use it, we would have somebody that could help them. So everything changed overnight.
And we talked about mental health.
In mental health, and it was very, very, very stressful. We were taking hundreds and hundreds of calls every day, trying to log them, trying to help the people, trying to calm them down.
So you're basically, see, what's happening here is
calm
that
ourselves down.
this pandemic comes in, you're trying to hit the ground running, you're trying to get everything done as quick as you can.
311
I
never
know.
lost a beat.
I
We
know.
never lost a beat. 8 o'clock Monday morning, 7 o'clock Monday morning. Heather and I were on the phones helping everybody that we could, and then at 8 o'clock other people came on, and it went from there.
And it's infectious too, because I think it helps other people.
Right.
Because everybody does the same thing with
Right,
that.
right.
You know. So the pandemic changed everybody. I want to thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And you're very gracious. We did a little thing with Mary Casesso called Humble and Kind, because there's a song out there called Humble and Kind, which I never heard in my life. But I think there's a lot of that that's needed in the world to do that and have patience. I suppose to work at 311, you have to have a lot of patience.
Oh yes, you have to have a lot of patience. I love my job. I've been in customer service for 50 years. I love all my people that call me. I have frequent flyers. I have elderly people that give me all my God bless yous because I need them all. And I have people that just call me all the time.
So if you want to get a real license, you want to fly to Mexico, is that apparent? Because that's your preference, right?
Yeah.
You want to go to Mexico. That's what you named anyway.
Yeah.
You can.
I want to
call.
go. I don't want to go to Mexico. I want to go back to Aruba. That's my favorite place in the world.
All right. Well, I've never been there. So.
Oh, well, you have to go. It is one happy island, man.
Really?
Let me tell you.
Okay. Well, I want to be happy. I need
will
help.
love Aruba.
Someone please help me. I want to be happy. I really do. I've been working on it for a long time now. But I guess I really am, but I just don't know it sometimes. You know, this is as good as it's going to get, though.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure for me.
Been a pleasure for me.
And a pleasure for you as well, of course. So I want to, in my closing statement, to all the wonderful residents out there in Somerville, people who have to understand that who we are, what we do, the service we provide here, and the reason why we do this is because we care deeply about members, we care deeply about unions. Not just unions, we also care about people who may not even be in a union. We also care about people who are aspiring to be in a union. And it's very important that everybody gets equal rights. And our views, and we have our mission, we have our fair treatment, equality for all, competitive wages, and just cause provisions, because we're always concerned about somebody, if something happens and they've been treated poorly, we want to make sure they have that opportunity to go through the grievance process. Unionization. So there are those who will say that Somerville is a union town. And there are those who will say Somerville leads the way for you to live, work, and play. Then there are those who use the term progressive in order to get elected to public office, not just here in Somerville, but all over the world. It's been going on for years, okay? And then there are those that will block the path to employees that wish to aspire be in a union. That old cliche, you can't have it both ways. Either you're pro-union, pro-labor, or you're part of the same hypocrisy that has attempted to keep unions out of its workplace and within their control for many, many years. No city or town can ever be called a union town until they accept the legal right to organize a union and allow these employees to have their union and fair bargaining rights under the law under Chapter 150E. Are you or are you not in favor of union organizing under the law? That's why we're here, that's our message, and that's what we give to people. I want to say that because Katie Johnston, who is a Boston Globe reporter, has agreed to be on the show. I don't know if she'll be here physically where you're sitting. We may Zoom her in. She's wonderful. She wrote a great article exactly about what I just talked about there, about unions wanting to become part of an actual union, have real rights and not just be put off and stalled, stonewalled the entire time. So, I mean, I could sit and talk about unions the entire, for a whole week, just like you could talk about 311. Mm-hmm. But then again, we would keep people in the studio here longer than they want to be. People have places to go. They have things to do. I want to thank Yvette for her patience, working so hard with us. I want to thank Greg for always doing this, right, and giving me the role in all of that. I don't know what any of this means, but I thank him for that. I also want to thank you for being so patient with us as well, because nothing ever goes perfect all the time. You know that, right? Made in Somerville. That is a phenomenal
awesome.
shirt, right?
That is awesome.
This is for me. No, it's for you. This is so, and I know all the 311 people are going to be very jealous of this shirt.
Yes, they are.
But we will. I think we can probably spring a few bucks and get them what they need. This is for you. If it doesn't fit, let us know.
I love it.
And we can probably work something else out. So anyway, when unity is strength, it looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
When we fight, we win. We're never going to give up, by the way. I just want to let people know that.
I never give up.
No, we're not going to stop because we know the righteous path. Thank you so much. Okay? Take care. See you soon.